Yeah. Hi. Good morning. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. What a series. I can't help but think, as much as I want to see one more year of Joel Embiid and the 76ers, I don't feel like that's the best possible thing for the 76ers, for the 76ers fan base. And after watching last night's game, watching the way the Sixers started, seeing them fight back, the thing that was in the back of my mind, even when the Sixers were up 10, was you just can't go down in a playoff game 22 points. You're literally playing catch-up. And even if you have a great run, like Buddy Hield knocking down 5 threes in the second quarter, as great as that was, in the back of my mind, I'm going, I don't think you're going to get 10 threes from Buddy Hield in this game. He ended up getting you 6. Had a quick trigger on the last shot of the game, but, whatever. I just feel like we just watched the end of a lot of Sixer basketball that we've kind of gotten used to over the years. And that has to do with Joel Embiid. I'll react to the game, but there's a bigger story. Like, to me, you have to be early on pulling the trigger on an Embiid trade than late, because the trade value is going to plummet. And there's going to be a year or two that really hurts when you trade Joel Embiid, especially if you trade him after this year. And he's going to go on. He's going to go somewhere else. He's going to be an MVP candidate. And he is going to say a lot of things, by the way, probably about his time in Philadelphia. And if he does get traded, he won't be too happy about Philadelphia and the 76ers organization. But I watched last night's game, and I marvel. I still do. And I defended Joel Embiid with his performance in Game 5, and I know a lot of people looked at, triple-double. Okay. But the fact that he even played in this series is amazing. I don't want to trade Joel Embiid. I feel like the Sixers need to trade Joel Embiid. That's where I'm at right now. At the end of last year, I told you guys, I'm not pushing him out the door. Hell, even before yesterday's show, I'm like, I'm not pushing him out the door. Whatever happens, At the end of last year, I'm like, I'm not pushing him out the door because I don't think that's the best thing yet for the Sixers. I'd like to see him and Maxey play together and see what that's like. And with him and Maxey together in the regular season, you're talking about the second best team in the Eastern Conference throughout the regular season. The thing is, I just don't see him being healthier as his career goes on. I don't see him all of a sudden next year being able to play in 70-plus games. And, of course, playing at that MVP level throughout, I have confidence he could do that. But to do that at the MVP level and qualify for the MVP award throughout the regular season, I don't know. But the bottom line is he going to be healthy enough for the playoffs? Even if he plays in that many games, would he be healthy enough for the playoffs? Or is it going to be what it always is, which is something? I don't want to trade Joel Embiid, but I feel like the Sixers need to trade Joel Embiid. I want to see him play with the Sixers and win with the Sixers and see all this come to a beautiful ending, a storybook ending. All the suffering we went through as a fan base in hopes that this team would get better and we would see a perennial MVP candidate lead this team to a championship. We have a parade down Broad, and Joel Embiid's either standing at the Wells Fargo Center or on the Art Museum steps or wherever, and he's just like, I told you to trust it. That would be such a beautiful ending. And I don't see it happening. And the Sixers have to be early on making that trade. And they sure as hell can't be late. Now, what is late? Now, is late after this year? Well, what if something happens this year? Is late after next year? Not this coming season now, but the next season? That's immediately where you jump to with the Sixers. Because look, hey, the Sixers had a first round. I thought about this, before I'm doing the show. I'm like, do I break down the game? And I will at some point during the show. Or do I just jump right to? I'm like, you jump to what it means. What does it all mean? And I usually the day after a show is more of a post game show type of setting and attitude and all that. But we've been here. Folks, we've been here too many times as Sixers fans after our own emotional investment. And this isn't to say that I hate Joel Embiid and he's a bum and he's soft. I defended him after game 5. No, he's soft. You can't say the guy's soft when he's playing on one knee. He's got Bell's palsy going on in his face. He's got blurred vision. He's obviously fatigued. And you want to say he's soft? No, he's gutting out a performance because without him, did you see the minutes with Paul Reed in the game? This series was one of the closest series in the history of the NBA playoffs. You know when it wasn't? When Joel Embiid was out of the game. That's when it wasn't one of the closest series ever in the history of the postseason. Okay? So, now, you don't play Joel Embiid in this series. He sits in this series. It's not even a series. They're like done in 4 games. Maybe a steal, a win, whatever. But you don't even come close to even forcing a game 6 in this series, let alone flirting with the idea of getting a game 7. So it's not something that I really am longing for. If the Sixers decide to run it back one more year with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, which, by the way, my prediction is that's exactly what they do. There's a whole list of free agents that we'll go through in terms of this roster. Guys I'd like to see get back, guys I wouldn't like to see back, and all that. By the way, just Tobias Harris played his last game as a Sixer last night. I can't think of a more fitting way for Tobias Harris's Sixers career to end than 0 points, -10, 3 assists. Thanks for stopping by for 5+ years. Anyway, where are you at right now with the idea of moving on from Joel Embiid? Are you in the room of push him out the door? Are you in the mindset of you're taking calls? Or are you in the mindset of making calls for you to test the market? Or are you like, no, run it back. You got to see how this goes. Because I'm in a very disappointed state. Not just for the possible end of this Joel Embiid run, which, look, regardless of how it ended, the Sixers didn't do him a lot of favors throughout this entire process. And I talk about it all the time and I even mentioned this yesterday, you gave the casino chips to so many different people. All the chips that Sam Hinkie hoarded and brought in, look at all I got, right? And then you distributed them to so many different players, whether it was the Colangelos, whether it was Elton Brand, whether it was Brett Brown, McCall Bridges, Zaire Smith, Brett Brown, whether it was now Daryl Morey. All these different people had their fingerprints on their chips. And when you went to cash them in, oh, baby, it was terrible. It was not good. You had Jimmy Butler in the palm of your hand, and you sided with Brett Brown, Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris. Jimmy Butler said, Tobias Harris over me? And I know that's what he said, but I don't think it really came down to that. I think it came down to Ben Simmons, Brett Brown over that. And then the thing with Tobias Harris is I just feel like Elton Brand made 2 big acquisitions to push everything, to push a lot of the chips in the middle of the table. And then felt like, oh, I'm not bringing back Jimmy Butler. So I gotta keep at least one of these guys. And he kept Tobias Harris. I think it's a little bit more complicated than just Tobias Harris or Jimmy Butler. I think anyone in their right mind, especially a guy, and I do respect the basketball mind of Elton Brand. I think he knows who's the better player. I think it's rather obvious. And then, as we talked about on yesterday's show, even if you get Jimmy Butler, maybe you still get Tyrese Maxey because he was such a late round pick. You still have an opportunity. So it's not a great feeling today. It really sucks, honestly. I hate using this term in sports, but it is. It's sad. I saw a Sixers team, to get into last night's game now, first off, not look ready to play. And that's on Nick Nurse. That's on the head coach. And I like Nick Nurse, but damn, that was horrible. You got 22 points in the first quarter. Did you guys even get off the bus? Did you guys even arrive yet? Like at the stadium? Did somebody tell you late that it was a 9 o'clock start time? Did you think it was a 10 o'clock start time? Like what was going on there? That was pitiful. 7 straight possessions to open the game. The New York Knicks came down the floor and scored on 7 consecutive possessions. That's impressive. And that is embarrassing for the 76ers. Absolutely embarrassing for the Sixers. Joel Embiid scores your only points, 9 points. It's 28-9 at the 4:01 mark, I believe it was, of the first quarter, and then Joel Embiid sits. Finally, Maxey gets a layup. Oh, my goodness. And then the Sixers really couldn't get anything going until the very end of that first quarter. And then in the second quarter was the Buddy Hield show. What was amazing about that was that Kate Scott, during the broadcast, Buddy Hield checks in, and Kate Scott goes, "Oh, Buddy Hield checks in. Let's see what Buddy can do here." And before she could even say the last E in here, turnover, Buddy Hield. And me and everybody else, it's Buddy Hield. What can he do? Turnover. That's what Buddy Hield can do. Turnover. Right? And then he knocks down 5 threes. 5 threes. 5 of them. 5 in that second quarter. And before you knew it, the Sixers were up 54-51 at halftime. You're like, how the hell did that happen? In the third quarter, they built up a 10-point lead. Joel Embiid really gets it going. Kelly Oubre gets it going. Boom, boom, Batum gets it going. Campaign gets it going. Guys are getting it going, baby. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I couldn't help it. What I thought about last night, in all honesty, and I'm not piling on here to sorrow and misery, all right? But it's what popped in my mind. I swear. When I'm so sorry I'm doing this to you, but I'm doing it because it's honest. When Jalen Hurts fumbled that football in the Super Bowl and the Chiefs got 7 points, I said, no matter what, you can't spot Patrick Mahomes 7 points. You can't say, here you go. We're going to give you 7 points. You can't spot the New York Knicks 22 points. You can't do that. It's catch up for the rest of the game. And with the way the Sixers got in front, it wasn't like your normal way of doing it, sustained success where Tyrese Maxey's making things happen, Joel Embiid's making things happen. Having an incredible run from one player in Buddy Hield, that doesn't make me feel great about what could go on in the second half. What was going through my mind was like, okay, you know what? Buddy Hield got this going, and that's great. Tyrese Maxey hasn't gotten it going yet. And I am the king of, ladies and gentlemen, I am the self-declared king of stop expecting anything from Tobias Harris. But if you ask me what Tobias Harris was going to do going into last night's game, I'd say, 15 points. I think Toby gets 15 points. I think Toby's going to come out, get you 15 points, right? He got you nothing. I say expect nothing from Tobias Harris. I did not expect him to take that so literal last night where he got you nothing. Nada. Zilch. You lose, sir. And yet what happened was he gave you nothing. Literally. He had 3 assists in the first half, and man, they were dazzling. Okay? So that's how that broke down. But as the game went on and I went into that third quarter, I was thinking about the 76ers there, and I was thinking about Tobias Harris, and I was thinking about Tyrese Maxey, and I was thinking about Buddy Hield and whether or not they could get it going. And you saw a good performance there from Joel Embiid, who sat a little bit in that third quarter. But the Maxey show didn't really start, unfortunately, until the fourth quarter. And 6 of 18 for Tyrese Maxey is not good enough. And Tyrese Maxey, although he had 17 points last night, he had 10 of those coming in the fourth quarter. That was obviously clutch. But the Sixers needed a lot more from Tyrese Maxey, especially coming out in the game. And he had 2 threes. He was 1 of 6 from beyond the arc. He had 2 threes that were, if they weren't air balls, they were damn near air balls. And that ain't good. This had to be a big Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, exclamation point start to a game. And you just don't go down 22 points and you win this game. That's what's insane to me. In a game that you have Nico Batum coming off the bench to start hitting threes for the first time since the play-in game against the Miami Heat. You see Nico Batum coming into this game. He gets you 16 points off the bench, 3 of 5 from beyond the arc, 5 of 7 from the field, including a couple of tap-ins that were 7 rebounds for Nico Batum is also a big deal. And then you have Buddy Hield dropping 20 points on 6 of 9 shooting from beyond the arc. You lose this game with this kind of help from the bench? I mean, Kyle Lowry for back-to-back games has combined for 0 points. In this game yesterday, Tobias Harris and Kyle Lowry, now I'm totally in the post-game mode right now. Kyle Lowry and Tobias Harris combined for 0 points. But you get that kind of help from the bench, and you get 39 from Joel Embiid, and you tell me you lose that game? Yeah, I'll say this. Sixers didn't lose the series because Joel Embiid didn't show up in another elimination game. He showed up in game 5, and he showed up tonight. Showed up with the triple-double, and each rebound, 16 rebounds, the 10 assists, huge in that game. And again, Paul Reed and Mo Bamba ain't going to win this game for you. So you see these guys actually step up and help, like Payne, Hield, Batum, and Joel Embiid. 39 points. Maxey gets 25. They win. Maxey gets 6 points. 7 points in the first quarter, whatever. Like, it's just amazing to me. You hang with them a little bit in that first quarter, and it's a totally different story. Totally different story. And part of me, Jalen Brunson is just a man possessed. And I don't know who was stopping Jalen Brunson, but nobody was stopping Jalen Brunson. And there was one particular situation where the Sixers were just absolutely, what's the best word for it? Frazzled. And that was 24 seconds left in the game. You're coming down the other end after Tyrese Maxey gets the goaltend layup and one situation where he knocks it down, he ties it at 11. And the one thing you're thinking is, come on, baby. Just don't let him hit a three. Don't let him hit a three. Don't let him hit a three. They come down the other end after a timeout, and what do they get? They get a three. And how does it happen? Defensive miscommunication. Nico Batum is actually trailing Jalen Brunson on this play. He's shadowing Jalen Brunson on this play. He's guarding Jalen Brunson on this play. They run the inbounds inbounds play to Jalen Brunson. He gets to the top of the key where Kelly Oubre is. Kelly Oubre and Nico Batum are now on Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson then tries to dribble down the perimeter, and Batum and Oubre go with him. Oubre should have peeled off in this situation. He did not peel off in this situation. And what that ended up doing was leaving a wide open Josh Hart sitting there at the top of the key. I believe he was reading a book, maybe having a sip of tea, contemplating life, maybe reading some stoicism quotes of Marcus Aurelius. I don't know. And he's standing there at the top of the key. Jalen Brunson goes down, taking two defenders with him to the baseline, kicks it back to the top of the key where Josh Hart's looking around just being like, huh. Tyrese Maxey tries to converge on him to guard him. He fakes the pass to Dante DiVincenzo on the foul line extended perimeter. Maxey goes back to his man. Josh Hart pulls up, tests the wind, strokes a three. Sixers go down 114-111, and after that, it was all about foul shots, and that was it. That was the dagger. That was the nail in the coffin. A defensive breakdown, and there were a couple of those in that second half. The offensive rebounding came back to bite the Sixers. I know when you look at the box score, it's almost even, but there were some clutch offensive rebounds there by the Knicks, including the second chance points of OG Anunoby on the baseline, corner three that he knocked down to tie it at 86, I believe it was, before this, right at the end of the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, there was a wide open play where OG was do I have this in here? Was it the third quarter? I think it was. OG's wide open at the top of the key and goes, oh, it's wide open, and then drives the lane and gets the N1 on Joel Embiid. Like, how does that happen? That's defensive breakdown. That's guys not talking. That's guys not communicating. That can't happen. That can't happen in a regular season game. That can't happen in the playoffs, man. In a Game 6 elimination, it's awful. It really gets you. Really gets you, this team, unfortunately. Joel Embiid did address the media after the game. So did Tyrese Maxey. So did Nick Nurse. And Joel Embiid was asked about the right mix, because it is unfortunate. You're talking about Jimmy Butler being here, and that was the best version of this team that we have seen post-process. The Jimmy Butler-led 76ers team was the best 76ers team since Allen Iverson in 2001. That's no doubt. And then everything hit the fan with that. Everything hit the fan with Ben Simmons. Everything hit the fan with James Harden. And now it's Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey for now. So Joel Embiid was asked by Mike Sealski, as a matter of fact, friend of the show. He was asked about all the different combinations of players and whether or not he felt like this team really had it and maybe has it going forward. And Joel Embiid was asked if this was the right squad and what players he'd like to see come back.
My job, that's those guys, that's what they get paid for. Our job is to get better as basketball players. Every single year we find a way. I found a way to get better. He's gotten so much better, and I think there's another step he can even take. Some of the guys in the locker room, they've gotten better. So I think, every single year I've gotten better. So I'm excited to, keep working on my game, myself, and, keep getting better. So, but, when it comes to, guys around, I like our group of guys. I think we have, an amazing group of guys. Obviously, it didn't work out this year, but we also played a great team. The New York Knicks, they did a great job, and, they played together for a long time. So I like our guys. Obviously, they got a lot of decisions to be made, but I think the group of guys that we had this year, they were amazing, and I still believe that, if everything went right, we had a chance. So, but everything didn't go right.
If everything went right, we had a chance. I agree with him. It's just that the fattest, boldest of infinite a number of exclamation points, throw in an underline and highlight. The fattest if you could hear is in that sentence. If everything went right. The most consistent if also is in that sentence. If. And every single year it's if. And you look at Joel Embiid, you look at his career, and it's always if. Is that going to get better? And if it gets better, is it going to be sustained? Or is it just going to be 1 year of the if and then that's it? Because I didn't trade 3 years. I didn't trade the last 5 years for one championship. It was to continue to contend. I mean, think about this for a second, okay? Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, both number 1 overall picks. They're gone. And a 20th overall pick, Tyrese Maxey, is now your shining light. Other than, Joel Embiid for however much longer he's here with the Sixers. But that could be blown up this offseason. And then they start building around Tyrese Maxey. So it's a crazy thing to think about right now. But that's the state that we're in. And to look at Joel Embiid and say, all right, well, what's next for you? If you do come back next year and you do play at a very high level, how long is that going to be sustained for? And will you be able to carry it into the playoffs? Because it just seems like we're banging our heads against the wall. It seems like the definition of insanity, Einstein's definition of insanity. Expecting the same thing, they're doing the same thing and expecting a different result. It just doesn't get you feeling good, unfortunately. And you just hear if. And I love that he's confident in a lot of the players. And speaking of those players, I mentioned I'd get into this. I'll get into it right now. Looking at some of these players that are unrestricted free agents. Tobias Harris, Kelly Oubre, Kyle Lowry, Buddy Hield. Remember Robert Covington? He's on this team. Nico Batum, DeAnthony Melton, Cam Payne, Mo Bamba, KJ Martin, Paul Reed, non-guaranteed. I wouldn't mind seeing Kelly Oubre back, but at what money? I wouldn't mind, honestly. I wouldn't mind seeing Buddy Hield stay here. I know, hey, look, he's a three-point shooter. He's going to struggle. But then he's also going to go off and get to 5-6 threes in the game all of a sudden. So I wouldn't mind seeing him back here. Nico Batum, you have a red carpet, brother. You can hang. You can hang. And also Cam Payne. I'd like to see Cam Payne come back. I also think if I had to really, well, not if I had to, but going back and looking at Nick Nurse's series, the fact that Cam Payne couldn't get in the first 2 games is damn ridiculous. Absolutely damn ridiculous. Especially when you talk about a guy with playoff experience and playoff success. Yeah, I think Cam Payne should have played. And unfortunately, that wasn't the way. Kyle Lowry, deuces. All right, deuces. No thanks. Tobias Harris, no way. Just forget about it. Like not happening. Like, what, are you kidding me? Yeah, that's what I'm looking at just at first glance of the early goings of the offseason here. But Joel Embiid right there was asked about who would like to see back. It's not my job. It's other guys' jobs, all that stuff. And then he was asked about the overall health, where he was at in this series. It's a bit of a long answer here, so hang with him. But this is where Joel Embiid was at and where his mindset was at about what the future holds for him, and as well as the status of the knee and that big fat if that we talked about.
Never give up. Gotta keep it going. I think, I mentioned it, a couple of days ago. I can't feel sorry for myself. As long as I can play and, jump even a little bit and I can be on the floor, I feel like my presence is enough. Even if I can't jump and I can't move the way I want to, or if my body's not responding the way it should be. But I just love to play. I felt like, coming back this year, I could have taken more time to heal and, get back to myself. But I just felt like, I think, mentioning him, the fact that he's on the team, obviously I've known him for a long time. And, I just felt like I didn't want to, give that up. I wanted to, get that opportunity to, be on this stage and, be part of it. And I didn't want to let him down and the whole team too. So I think that's always been my mindset. I've always played through stuff. It's never been an excuse. And, we lost and it's not an excuse. So, for me, for the most part, I was healthy.
Most part, I was healthy. Game 1? Game 2, definitely not. Game 4, no. That's a big fat no. Because the fourth quarter, he just wasn't there. You look over his numbers in this series. And last night, fine, 39 points, 13 rebounds. That's great. 5 turnovers. What did I say? I said 5 turnovers. I said that for Joel Embiid last night, 5 turnovers. I also expected him to have fewer. I expected his points to be flipped with Tyrese Maxey's, basically. But Joel Embiid also be able to get you some assists. But that didn't happen, unfortunately. But so you're looking at this game. 39 points last night, 19 in game 5, 27 in game 4, 50 in game 3. That was the big one. 34 in game 2, which was also feeling pretty good. And then 29 in game 1. Scoring-wise, good throughout the series. The only thing is, in that game 3, game 5 at home, what the hell am I looking at here? Oh, this is weird. Yeah, game 4 at home, 27 points. It's a hollow 27 points because he had 1 point in the fourth quarter when he needed him most, and he just disappeared. That obviously can't happen. But for me to have faith in this team moving forward, I know when you talk about trading Embiid, you're talking about a rebuild, you're talking about a retooling, whatever you want to call it. But there's a chance you get a player that helps Tyrese Maxey win now. And do you want to pushing the chips in the middle of the table? I feel like has more to do with Embiid playing one more year than it does trading him before next season. Because with Embiid, I feel like if you keep him, you might get one more run at this. You might get one more run. Because of that big, fat, highlighted, underlined, neon signed if. But you might get one more run at it. Whereas if you trade Embiid and you acquire pieces, you get draft picks, but you also get someone that can play now. Maybe you make other trades and acquisitions with those number 1 picks that you'd get in return for Joel Embiid. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, boom, you're back into actually competing to win. Because here's what really bothered me. The Sixers, even with Tyrese Maxey, they're a team led by a center. In a guard-dominated league, you're talking about a team that you just lost to with 3 guards that play rather well. At worst, a small forward. When you talk about Josh Hart, you talk about Jalen Brunson, and you talk about Dante DiVincenzo. Those guys are the guys that really beat you unfortunately. McBride, oh my God. I don't think I'm going to put McBride in the same category as Rozier, but like, I'm sorry, what's your name again? And you're killing us? That kind of thing. But yeah, I'm curious to see where you guys are at in all this. Now, before I get to the chat, I do want to tell you guys about MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Download MyBookie to your phone. Have yourself a great time on mybookie.ag. Take advantage of all they're offering the rest of the NBA playoffs. Philly season, of course. Got a 4-game series. They're starting up with the San Francisco Giants, so make sure you guys take advantage of all they're offering on MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Download the app, create an account, use promo code FARS. You get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. How about the Game Time app? Download the Game Time app to your phone. Use promo code FARSY and get $20 off your first purchase at the Game Time app. You want tickets to the next game for the Phillies, baby? Right there in the Game Time app. They have the Game Time guarantee as well, which means if you find tickets in the same section and row for less money elsewhere, the Game Time app will get you back at 110% of the difference. That's a Game Time guarantee. They have flash ticket deals, last-minute ticket deals, even ticket deals for an hour after the event starts. So you have mega, huge, kajunga savings at the Game Time app. So download the app. Use promo code FARS to get $20 off your first purchase at the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation? Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. One more thing. Nick Nurse after the game. I'm just going to tell you. Nick Nurse was asked about the officiating. This is always a tense moment in the press conference. You're going to wonder what's the head coach going to say. Oh, boy. He's getting asked about the officiating, right? And he did complain about Tyrese Maxey not getting calls. And there were some drives that I went back and watched twice. If there was a break in the action, I would go back on the DVR and I'd watch it again. I'd be like, oh, maybe Maxey wasn't fouled. But then there are others where I'm like, he should get that call. He should get that call. Why isn't Tyrese Maxey getting that call? And Nick Nurse talked about it after the game. And I get it. He's, defending his player. But then he was asked a question, and I thought he answered it very cleverly. Yeah, was hey, so what do you think about the officiating in this Game 6? I thought it was very consistent with the series. I thought that was brilliant. It's a way of saying, oh, it was terrible throughout the entire series. And it was terrible again tonight. So it was consistent with the rest of the series. So brilliant way for him to answer that question. All right, let's see what you wonderful people are saying about this game and where you want to go. Oh, rookie camp. Sorry. Eagles start their rookie camp today at the NovaCare Complex. 12:30, there'll be a draft pick press conference, so look forward to that. I saw Cooper DeJean, Quentin Mitchell. They were there last night. I saw Brandon Marsh and Alec Boehm ringing the bell. That's great. Ring the bell at CBP. Ring the bell at the Sixers. There's bells all over the place. Have yourself a great time. 150 practice at the NovaCare Complex today. And then after practice, Nick Sirianni will address the media all by his lonesome. Be the first time he addressed the media at the NovaCare Complex of the new season. All by his lonesome. He's talked every time with Howie Roseman. He talked to the media at the owners' meetings a couple of weeks ago, all by his lonesome. But this will be the first time at the NovaCare Complex where you can see what's in front of him and then break it down for you with all the brilliant questions he'll be asked following all that. All right. What'd you guys think? Where are you at? Joel Embiid, all that jazz. What do you got? Let's see here. Wow, you guys are piping hot today. April. Good morning, April. Have fun at the wedding, by the way. The non-school wedding. Anyway, IBH, what's popping? Babs, what's going on, Babs? Farzy, it's embarrassing as a fan to hear Nick Nurse and Jim Lynott complain about the officials. The referees were bad. It's totally wrong, and I personally find it boring. Yeah, I don't like ripping officials, but they were ass in this game. The officials were ass. That's a game series. They were terrible. I don't like blaming them. I like looking at Tobias Harris saying, really, I literally expected nothing, but you gave me nothing. You rarely ever give me what I expect. I'd rather look at, as much as I love Tyrese Maxey, and I could say I said a lot of things about Joel Embiid and the fact that they're not even in the series if he doesn't play. If Tyrese Maxey doesn't play in the series, they're not even in the series. So same can be said for that. But last night, any game you have your back against the wall, you need to be on top of your game, man. And Tyrese Maxey was not on top of his game in the first half, and that ain't good. But yeah, I don't like talking about officials. If it's part of the storyline, it's absolutely part of the storyline. It needs to be mentioned. But as far as using it as, the officials sucked, and that's why we lost. That's loser energy, and I don't like it. Sean Gillespie, good morning. Sean Kilrain, what's popping? Crumble Cookie Tobias, good riddance, 29 minutes, 0 points. Kyle Wright, they battled. You know what, Kyle? They did. I'm not disagreeing with the fact that they battled. And this could have gone a totally different way. I mean, we're coming off a year where the Sixers played the Celtics and Joel Embiid didn't show up. James Harden didn't show up in game 7. And they just mailed it in. And that was it. That was how that era, if you will, ended. That's horrible. Absolutely dreadful. Pitiful. And in this, you didn't have that. You had Joel Embiid showing up. In the last 2 games of the series, 9 turnovers. Yeah, you know what? He played on one leg and half a face. Okay? The guy, you want to talk about battled? That guy battled through that to try to help this team win. I have a much different feeling about Joel Embiid at the end of this playoff series as far as whether or not he'll show up in a big game than I did at the end of last year. That's one, I don't even know the right adjective to put on it, redeeming quality about this series as compared to last year. Now, last year, it was the second round, so let me make the dumb joke of at least they're not going to get eliminated in the second round this year. Anyway, sorry, had to get that out of the system. But yeah, it's a little odd right now with Joel Embiid, unfortunately. Embiid is just not reliable health-wise. Sean, I'm with you. Farzy, I was trashed by fans for not believing that they would win the game. Was close, but we know how it ends, says Stan Bruce. Stan? Yes, it... The most disappointing thing in last night's game, I didn't have high expectations for Tobias Harris. I don't expect anything from him again. I don't expect anything, and I got nothing. We got nothing, okay? The most disappointing thing was that as Joel Embiid was consistent throughout the game, Tyrese Maxey was not. And I really expected this to be, because it had to be, another Maxey and Embiid show. For me, the Tobias Harris no points, like for me, after 1 and 2, or after 1A and 1B, Embiid and Maxey, right after that, and going into the game last night, I had Maxey as the 1A and Embiid as 1B. So after that, I looked at it and I went, all right, if you get scoring from those two, then everybody else, it's gravy. Who's going to be the next? I even said it yesterday when I was teasing the game. I said, all right, who's going to be the next man up? Is it going to be Batum? Is it going to be Campaign? Is it going to be Tobias Harris? Is it going to be, and I said this yesterday, Buddy Hield? Is this the game Buddy Hield gets you 5 threes? Said it yesterday. I wasn't betting on it, but I said it in, trying to break down how this could happen because somebody else was going to have to score. After Embiid and Maxey, somebody else has to do it. Whether that's Tobias Harris, whether that's Nico Batum, whether it was Buddy Hield, whoever, somebody has to do it. But what has to happen is your stars who are going to have the ball in their hands more than anybody need to be on top of their game. And Tyrese Maxey was not on top of his game for 4 quarters. You can expect a lull at some point. And I'm certainly not saying they lost the game because of Tyrese Maxey, but it didn't help. 4th quarter, he's the reason that they were still in the game. No doubt about it. 10 points is a fine quarter, especially in the 4th quarter. But, man, the defensive breakdowns were too much to overcome. And being down 22 points at any point in the game is still being down 22 points at any point in the game. And then finding a way to get back into it and then waiting in that 3rd quarter for guys to really break out of it like Tyrese Maxey. It just didn't happen. Are you guys getting this? My chair squeaking like crazy? Might be time for a new chair. Know what I'm saying? Kyle Wright, the league allows Brunson to get away with a different. What is with that? I thought that was illegal now, the Brunson move, where he dribbles to the lane, gets the momentum going to the defender, and then stops, pulls up, and gets fouled from behind. He fouled from behind. He's initiating that. Daniel, good morning. Fuji, what's going on? Good morning, folks. Happy Friday. How can this run continue? How long can this run continue? Well, maybe one more year. Scam Hinky. That's funny. Isaiah Joe. Oh, my goodness gracious. Friend of the Farsi show, Isaiah Joe, by the way. Yeah, he was getting things done. Sean Kilwright, I'm making calls to see what the offers are because health and durability come into question, Farsi. Yeah, that's the number one thing. Jimmy chose Miami over Philly? Well, yeah, because Philly had Ben Simmons and Jimmy was right, man. As of right now, as I've told you guys many times, when I go to tell my grandkids about the process, right? How did it end? Oh, Jimmy Butler killed it. When Jimmy Butler was gone, that was the end. Yeah. That team wasn't going anywhere. This Sixers team wasn't going anywhere? Or the Jimmy Butler team? I think you mean this team. Yeah, you're probably right. They weren't going anywhere. Can't say Jimmy made a bad choice. He went to 2 NBA Finals. Yeah, he did not make a bad choice. The Sixers made the bad choice. I said, here we go. Then bang. Oh, the final one, the final 25 seconds. After Tyrese Maxey went down, got the end one. He had 2 end ones, actually. One wasn't called. The other was the goaltend end one that was called. And he went to the line, tied it up at 111 all. And then, the Josh Hart 3 happened. And that was terrible. That was no bueno. Did not like that. Yeah, that was all terrible. Stan Bruce, we also seen Joel traded before in the body of Charles Barkley. In the return, we get Tim Perry, Andrew Lang, and Jeff Hornacek. Now, you bite your tongue about Jeff Hornacek. Clarence Weatherspoon, Jeff Hornacek were like the stars of the Sixers the first game I went to. So I have a soft spot in my heart for the Spoon and Hornacek. Trade him if you want to start a new process. I don't want to start a new process. I don't ever want to do a process again. I never want to do another process. I can't. I don't have it in me. Maybe there'll be a day in the future where I don't give a damn about sports. And maybe you could do it then. But no, I'm not doing another process. You have Tyrese Maxey. You already have that piece. You already have a great starting off point, who, by the way, is 23 and will be 23 when the season starts next year. Then quickly 24. But you have Tyrese Maxey. It's a much better starting off point than you did before. Everyone got to go except one player, says NJ Garrett or RN Garrett. Kyle Wright, we needed Kelly to call Scott Foster and his crew all bitches. That would have been great. Getting mugged. Ty Vita. This loss is on Nick Nurse. The Raptors fan said he doesn't make adjustments, but we refuse to see it because of what we saw in the playoffs. I didn't get a sense of no adjustments. Like, Embiid sat for poor play. Campaign finally came in off the bench. Buddy Hield got back into this game, and Nick Nurse said Buddy Hield got into the game because he was looking for anyone to keep up with the Knicks. So I give him credit for that. Crumble Merchant, that's great. Tyvita, the whole series, he started the same lineup even though we were losing with them. I don't have a problem with the starters. I got a problem with the rotation off the bench. Tyvita, good morning. Tyvita after that. And good morning, everyone. This sucks. That sucks. Good morning. Good morning, Tyvita. You're the best. Midnight Lexicon, what's going on? What an absolute farce for a decade. So many bad decisions. And what did all of that get us in the end? Yep. Pretty much. Pretty much. But is he getting the guys Nurse once? The funny thing is, and we tracked this yesterday, the funny thing is Tyrese Maxey Tyrese Maxey coming here essentially is trading Markelle Fultz for Tyrese Maxey. And Tyrese Maxey is much more worthy of a first round, number 1 overall pick than Fultz. If Fultz turned into Tyrese Maxey, I think we're all happy. which essentially is exactly what happened. So we should at least be happy in that one isolated description. Jason A, what's up? Almost happy it's over. There you go. I think you're going to back up center at the deadline. Okay, if you want to add, let's add. Let's do it. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Maury wanted to keep a 6'9" assassin who can guard 1'5". Harris, you crumb bum. I love that phrase. Dedicated to the city of brotherly losers. The Knicks win! Exclamation point, says Urban Cowboy. Hold on. You have a Dak Prescott upside down avatar? What's going on there? Is his head in poop? What is that? What's going on there? For the people on the podcast, first of all, I'm sorry I've not really talked to you recently, but it looks like this avatar is Dak Prescott upside down, like a McFarlane figure of Dak Prescott upside down with his head in a poo emoji. I can't be certain, though. Anyway, Embiid is Dak Prescott. Wow. Yeah, Dak Prescott is not an MVP, so I wouldn't necessarily make that comparison. Oh, and he's won playoff games. Anyway. Facts are vibes guy. Fact is they got cooked without Randall and injured Mitchell Robinson. Yeah, that sucks. Blaming Lawson on fictional curses. That's funny. Jeff, what's up, Jeff? If Embiid demands a trade, which I doubt, he will do it. Best option is to Miami for Bam and Hero. Ooh, I don't mind that. All right, people ragging on Urban Cowboy. OG was killing the Sixers too, Kane. You're absolutely right. I agree. Officiating was definitely uneven. I concur. People talking. Oh, here we go. Harris needs to go. Go Phil. Go Phil, says Twiz. Thank you very much. Eric, NBA fix this one. Womp womp. Guys, appreciate you guys hanging with me throughout this series, obviously. I'll be back with you guys on Tuesday. I'm off Tuesday. Or excuse me, I'm off Monday. I'll still be in Knoxville on Monday. So I'll be back with you guys on Tuesday. Until then, I'll also know postcasts on Locked On Sports Philadelphia. So I'll be off from that as well. And then I'll be back with you guys again this morning, 9:20. I'll be joining Birds 365. So catch me then. And I'm headed over to Fox to do a hit. Have a great rest of your day. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. No show on Monday. See you guys then. Sorry that this game sucked.